Hey, Aquarians. Oh my gosh, your reading is so powerful. Not only does it have to do with you having the chance of your King of Cups coming into your life, but in addition, there is a healing of yourself that looks like is happening in this reading. This is a 2-in-1 reading. I know you guys are used to me shuffling the readings out right in front of you. I've done that for so many years. I just thought I would lay the cards out. If I need to shuffle any more cards, I will. But if you also are looking at this reading right now, you'll notice I'm using a different deck. I am using the Oriens Animal Tarot deck to discover what new revelations are happening for you. And the moon card is in the reversal. Let's take a nice close look at this, because this moon card in the reversal means that you are gaining a sense of clarity in the near future. When the moon is in the upright position, we think of it like the cycles, right? The cycles of the heavens. The sun goes up, the sun goes down, the night and the moon comes up and the moon comes down. Well, since you have this card in the reversal, it insinuates the next phase is not that the moon is going to come back up. The moon is in the down position and the sun is coming up. That means revelation is happening for you. Notice that in between the King of Cups card and the moon card is the Justice card. And the Justice card is about things finally balancing out. Now, the reality of this reading, though, is, yes, talking about the King of Cups, somebody who wants to pour their love into you. But there's also, at the bottom portion of this reading, this idea of strength and temperance, which is about you. So on one half of this reading, we have this dynamic of somebody else who is likely to come into your life. So this reading becomes partly about them. But the other half of this reading does look like it's a lot about you. And that's why I'm talking about the Justice card being here in the middle of the King of Cups and the moon energy, because the Justice is about balancing. And if you have the King of Cups coming into your life, but you're not ready, and or if the King of Cups, the correct lover comes into your life and there's something imbalanced with you, it'll muck it up. Now, I'm not pointing to you having something wholly imbalanced within yourself, but I am saying that for the people that this reading is meant for, there is an indication that the universe is saying, hey, there's something we need to address going on. In order to attract the right person into your life, a deep look into this Strength card and the Temperance card, those aspects of yourself need to be tackled, lest some complication come out in the future. A balancing of yourself also is something that's happening, like not just in you, but in other people. So you want to attract into your life a person who is also balanced and had to go through this exact same situation that you're going through. And in life, we all balance certain things one at a time. Sometimes we spend a few years balancing our communication. Other times we spend a few years balancing our, how would you call it? Companion capabilities, our boundaries, right? I will say, though, that the Strength card in history has a very interesting medieval tone to it that has to do with the 7 deadly sins. So this is habits. The Strength card is connected to things with relation to the human carnal body. So the things that we do habitually that, like the 7 deadly sins, impacts our physical body, not just our mind. Things like over drinking, overeating, that would be gluttony in the world of the 7 deadly sins. Lustful practices, right? And lust, I know a lot of people are afraid of lust. Lust is not something to be just feared. It doesn't mean you're a bad person because you like to kick your boots around or get a little freaky. That's not what lust is all about. There are extremes of a spectrum when we experience certain emotions, like the spectrum of love and how you can experience friendship love and how you can experience romantic love. And lust is the exact same way. Lust was the passion that would happen when the great muses of Greek mythology created songs that they expressed, stories that were told. The passion and the drive all of a sudden to create a project, to get something done. Lust doesn't just have to be, someone's wandering eyes. Someone only wants you because they want you They want to get in your pants. Like, there are different varying degrees of lust. But the strength card isn't just the body that way. It could be how the body gets impacted when you have avarice, which is another seven deadly sin, which is the love of money. That can come in when you have an overspending habit that needs to be tackled, right? I think anything, the seven deadly sins. Usually a person doesn't have like the extremes of everything. Like I said, the extremes of lust or the extremes of spending, right? Or the extremes of overeating or sloth, the extremes of just not getting around and moving and exercising. But if you do have one of those areas, the universe is calling you to look at something like the seven deadly sins and tackle it a bit so that you are balanced and not running in an automatic cycle by the time the King of Cups comes in. That's really important. Because as an example, or substance use even, right? If say all of a sudden you are neck deep in a substance use by the time the King of Cups comes your way, are you going to be balanced enough to attract the right person? Or if you are downing 8 coffees every single day, it doesn't have to be the extreme substance use. I'm not talking that you have to necessarily be, dealing with heroin or meth or alcohol. It could be something as simple as the way that your body wakes up in the morning and the first thing you do before you even get healthy is to smoke a bunch of cigarettes or drink a bunch of coffee or consume a bunch of sugar and send your body into a rush of something. And then, imagine having a partner and they get off at 5 p.m. at night. By the time they get off at 5 p.m. every day, your partner, your balanced or more balanced King of Cups comes in and you're already exhausted because you've gone through cycles of rush, nicotine, increase, decrease. These are very subtle, sensitive things that you can tackle that eventually we all tackle. Like, as time progresses, things become too much, even if it's not a big deal. Again, if you look at a person and they're like, I overeat, man, and I should really work out so much, like, I should work out more. We wouldn't look at that person and be like, oh, for shame, you're such a mess. This isn't a reading that's talking about you being an incapable mess. This is not a reading talking about you being the, most imbalanced person. It's just saying that there is something within you that's a little off kilter that needs adjusting because for some reason it's going to impact your future dynamics of relationships. Whether it's like as an example, if you feel more unfit, maybe the universe is going to have you introduce yourself to your future King of Cups at the gym. Or if you feel like you want to level up your education, you're feeling like you want to learn a course. Maybe, again, see what I mean? Maybe you're supposed to bump into your future person at the library or at a new school that you go to or at a new job if it's money you're dealing with. It doesn't have to be about the wholeness of you being the worst unbalanced, but for some reason, it looks like a person that you could be with is going to come in at a point that you are balancing something. Now, I want to talk a little bit off of that topic because that's like 9 minutes talking about that. That's for both of you. The scales of justice are two-sided. Remember, this isn't just you being balanced. This is you meeting the right person in your life or bringing the right person in your life because both of you are becoming balanced. This is a two-way street here. But I'm going to talk now a little bit about why this seems to be happening because the 9 of Wands is here and the 10 of Swords is here. And both of those have aspects of you trying to protect yourself from previous heartbreaks or betrayals in the past. And your other person might have to balance these kind of things too. As an example, the 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups is a card about indecision. And you have it in the reversal. And that, when it's in the reversal, it is the willpower and drive towards making a decision. Next to the Strength card, decision towards yourself to gain clarity in your life. But when it's got the 9 of Wands here, it makes me feel like it's no wonder there's this feeling of indecision because the 9 of Wands is about protecting oneself. You see all these spikes in the background? On a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there's a man standing with a spiky wall behind him. The 9 of Wands. Those spikes are the ancient fortress protective barriers called a palisade. Like if you ever look at the medieval a picture of a medieval castle in Scotland or France, wherever you're looking, the great crusades of the Middle Ages. And those fortresses have these big giant wooden spikes on the outside that you know that it's protecting that fortress. That's a palisade. That's what is on the Nine of Wands. That's why this is a card that has to do with protecting oneself, right? And why would you have this feeling and need to protect yourself unless there was a threat that you were consumed with? And I'm assuming here, the Ten of Swords, which is a card of endings and betrayal and severe heartbreak. It's a picture of a starfish that's been absolutely decimated. And in fact, because it has the star symbolism, it's connected to previous wishes that you wanted to have fulfilled. And those wishes were just slammed. That would give you a threat, eh? That is this feeling of like, hey, I need to protect myself so this doesn't happen again. But when you protect yourself so that the heartbreak doesn't happen, you can fall into the Strength card's bad habits. That's what I think has happened here. There might be something that you need to, again, work on yourself, and it'll be at that point all of a sudden. Or your partner, it needs to work on themselves with this idea of the body so that your mind, this is the mind card, we got the body and the mind, duality. This is showing up a lot in this reading. Once this gets worked on, all of a sudden the door gets opened. And I mean, if we wanted to look at it from like a chakra-ish kind of perspective, if that's your thing, that's very root and sacral chakra-ish. Root chakra could be bodily grounding, lust, things like that, addictions, gluttony, sloth. Those are usually sacral energy. Those are the ones that are below your heart. If you want the right person to come into your life, your heart center needs to open. And even if we're not talking about chakras, even in basic physiology and biology and science, the way that you're going to attract the right people essentially is if you can recognize whether or not a person's heart is genuine. But how do you recognize a person's heart is genuine without opening your own heart space and removing the protective walls that you have up and the fears of the Ten of Swords? Remember, right before the Ten of Swords is a card of like massive fears, which is why there's so much hurt and betrayal. It's like the fears come true. How do you open your heart out to somebody on a like psychological level if you're just protecting yourself with gigantic spiky palisades and other habits that are not suitable for the compatibility of your expansion into a relationship with somebody, right? So if chakras are your thing, work on the sacral and the root chakras so that you can have that all flow into the heart. And if chakras are not your thing, then do it from a psychological perspective, a science-based perspective, because those two areas will do the exact same thing. The key is there is a need to not feel like you need to protect yourself so much and still allow yourself the room to experience in a relationship. Sometimes this also happens when a person is really concerned with like just always being on their own, protecting themselves, very independent. They call it protecting their peace nowadays, but it's starting to become evident in the world of self-care and psychology that overdoing self-care can prevent you from opening your heart enough to go and experience another situation. A quote all week that I have been focusing on is if you are hurt in a relationship, how do you heal unless you go into a relationship to heal? Like if you want to swim in life, you have to first jump in the water. You have to first learn how to sink in order to swim. Cue Brandon Boyd lyrics from Incubus, right? If you want to get on a bike, the only way for you to learn how to ride a bike is to get on the bike. This is a dynamic that exists in anything you want to do, and the same is with relationships. Protecting yourself and walling yourself up, it's not gonna allow you to experience the healing in certain relationships unless you go into those relationships. And that could take a few times for many people. But I'm going to read a little bit further because according to this, you do have a King of Cups. Now that I've given you enough of a biology lesson and psychology lesson, let's just shuffle a little bit here and let's just look at this King of Cups energy and this Justice energy. Heartbreak, Justice balancing out all the previous heartbreak. You see what I mean? I want to know a little bit about that dynamic. You have communication coming in. Wicked, and action that you are taking towards getting the right relationship. What's this King of Wands doing? I love that he's in the upright position, by the way, because in the reversal position, he becomes this energy that looks like the Hanged Man. King of Cups is a card that's very moody and emotional and very much like they want to protect themselves. They don't want to pour their cup of love into nobody. They just get stuck upside down and moody. Think moody Pisces. Surprisingly, even though I'm about to go out of the water territory, think moody Gemini too. Somebody who gets stuck because they just don't want to pour into anything except for what they want to pour into at that exact moment. This is not what you have. You have somebody who is interested. This King of Cups is an energy interested in finding a person, in pouring their love into somebody. They just happen to be a little bit suspicious every now and then and have to tackle their emotions. The Devil card is here. Wow, it's in the upright position. Oh, you know what? This could go hand in hand with the Strength card because that's a lot about the carnal body. And the Devil card has an energy of lust also attached to it. But also obsession. And also the kind of person who can make for really passionate experiences. The Devil card is also the kind of person that you can find yourself like getting deeply bound to. By bound to, I mean like it becomes very quick, very evident very quickly that you're like attached to the hip with this particular person. Just watch out for bad habits of toxicity with the Devil, because sometimes becoming bound to the hip really quickly can go either way. It can be your personal destiny. Some people get into relationships real quick and it really is their destiny. That was their person. You know, tons of us are here because we have some great grandmother who married someone after 3 weeks. But in the alternative, sometimes jumping into that relationship too quickly can be because they are holding a devilish kind of trauma within them, and an unawareness of it, or a lustful attachment behavior kind of thing. I think it's also interesting here. I'm going to clarify this card because the Six of Cups is unique in that it is soulmate kind of energy, but it's platonic sometimes. It can even be experiences within a family dynamic, like people learning how to love because of how they grew up, people learning how to come together because of how they grew up. And I say that because it's kind of matching the balancing energy that's coming out of this reading, right? Six of Cups has got a lot of dual energy in this. A lot of that balancing concept that we spoke of when it came to a person balancing their own selves. And that's especially present when it's in the reversal. The Six of Cups in the reversal actually means renewal. Like, and think about the entire first 10 minutes of this reading. This is about people who are coming to a point of balance. They are coming to a point soon of clarity. Not having to stay in the confusion. Like self-regulating themselves. Ownership and taking responsibility of what part they have to play in relationships. And what part they have to play with their own bodies. Oh, it's so good. The Star card is here. Remember, the original wishes that you had were shot down. The Ten of Swords, the Star, the wish, the betrayal, the hurt, the heartbreak. It was just not in your grasp. And all of a sudden the Star comes here to tell you you have a lot to be hopeful for. In this case, it's looking like with the King of Cups, with the Six of Cups in the realm of love. Notice in this entire reading, we did not get the sign, we didn't get the Pentacles, right? This is very much Love Cups energy. The last thing I'd like to say is the Temperance card is here, and we pretty much went over that already because the Temperance card is about slowly balancing yourself. If you've ever looked at the Temperance on the original traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it is the picture of an angel who is holding two cups in their hand and pouring water from one cup and then taking the water and slowly pouring it to another cup. But if you were to do that right now, if you were to stand in your kitchen and you took two cups and you were just like pour, 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 and you're putting this water in one, then the other, in one, it would splash all over the place, right? That's why the Temperance card is shown as gently pouring a cup, because in life, things take time, and the best outcomes you can have happen with precision of the balancing that you're doing. So I really love this for you because it feels like it is very much wish come true energy, but it's also a leveling up. This to me looks like a leveling up in the way that you experience not only love, but the way you're experiencing yourself, which is phenomenal, guys. I'm going to leave it off like that. I'm going to go over and now do the sign of Pisces. Get that reading done. And then I'm going to start on my Mercury retrograde readings. I'm excited because we are in the thick. We are in the middle of Mercury retrograde, and I'm going to get some readings done about that. So that's going to be nice. Feel free to join me on TikTok where there are some free readings, or feel free to join me on Facebook or Instagram where I just chat about my regular life. Because I'm a chatty bitch. I just like to talk to people because I'm in a house full of kids. And sometimes it's nice to just chat with all of you guys. Also, if you'd like a private reading, let me know. My information is in the description below and in the link in my bio. I do have a sale going on right now. And yeah, I'm going to leave that here. Thank you very much, guys. Talk to you later. Ciao for now.